You know the feeling, right? It's the absolute hottest day of the summer, and just like that, silence. The AC gives out. Or maybe it's the coldest night of the winter and the furnace just quits. It feels so random, like you just have the worst luck. But what if I told you it's not luck at all? What if that breakdown is actually the last move in a long, invisible war? A war between your home and the very climate you live in.
So, let's just ask it outright. Is your home at war with the weather? Well, the answer is almost definitely yes. It doesn't matter if you live near the coast, out in a dry desert, or up in the snowy mountains. Your local climate is constantly, relentlessly attacking your HVAC system. And honestly, understanding that battle is the absolute key to winning it.
All right, to really see this war up close, we're going to zero in on one specific battleground, Salisbury, Maryland. Its unique coastal climate makes it the perfect case study to show just how your local environment can push your home's most important systems right to their breaking point.
Now, what's so fascinating about Salisbury is its geography. It's basically caught in this climatic crossfire. In the summer, you get that heavy, oppressive, subtropical humidity just rolling in off the water, with heat that feels like it's over 100 degrees. But then winter hits, and you're dealing with freezing rain and nasty nor'easters that put a totally different but equally incredible strain on the furnace. So yeah, this is not a fair fight at all. The climate in Salisbury comes armed with three major weapons. First, you've got that insane humidity, which forces your AC to work way harder just to pull moisture out of the air, forget even cooling it down. Then, you've got the salty air from the Chesapeake Bay watershed, which is constantly eating away at your outdoor unit. And finally, high water tables create condensation problems that can literally rot your ductwork from the inside. It's a relentless three-pronged attack.
And here's the proof. This is the real-world cost of that battle. An HVAC system that might last a solid 15 years in a drier, inland part of Maryland, well, it often fails after just 12 years in Salisbury. That's 3 whole years of its life just erased by the local environment. We're talking thousands of dollars out of a homeowner's pocket, all because of their zip code.
Okay, so let's dig a little deeper. We're moving from the big picture climate down to the microscopic damage that's happening inside the machinery itself. This is really where the war on your comfort begins.
What this really means is that your system never, ever gets a break. It's not just about how often it turns on and off. It's about how hard it has to run when it's on. These longer AC cycles just to fight humidity, the furnace kicking on and off constantly during temperature swings, that is not normal wear and tear. It's basically accelerated aging, and it leads to predictable and often preventable breakdowns.
So, all this constant stress, it results in some very specific types of damage. These aren't just random equipment failures, They are the direct casualties of this ongoing war with the climate. Let's break down some of the most common ones.
First up, the condenser coil on the outdoor unit. It's taking a serious beating from the elements, day in and day out. It's the primary target for all that salt in the air, which makes this absolutely critical component incredibly vulnerable. Think about that for a second. It's an invisible assault. Tiny salt particles are causing a chemical reaction that literally eats away at the metal. This creates tiny pinhole refrigerant leaks, which is one of the biggest reasons an AC unit just stops blowing cold air. It's a slow, silent killer for your system. Okay, next, let's head inside the house. All of that oppressive humidity has to go somewhere, and that's the job of the condensate drain line. Or at least that's what's supposed to happen.
See, because there's just so much moisture in the air, these drain lines become the perfect breeding ground for gunk like algae and mold. Once they get clogged, that water has nowhere to go but back, and it often overflows into your attic or your basement. And just like that, a humidity problem has turned into a major water damage problem and a serious air quality issue.
And finally, let's talk about a small but absolutely vital electrical part that takes a massive beating from the climate, the capacitor.
The capacitor is kind of like the spark plug for your HVAC system. It gives the motors the jolt they need to start up. But under the intense strain of a Salisbury summer, they fail all the time. In fact, a busted capacitor is one of the top reasons people make those frantic emergency service calls. It's the little part that always seems to fail right when you need your AC the most.
Okay, so the problem is crystal clear. The climate is a tough enemy. But you don't go into a war without a strategy, right? A climate-smart approach means you're not just fixing the broken part, but you're understanding why it broke in the first place.
Look, an expert approach has to be tailored to the battlefield. It means service trucks are already stocked with the parts you know are going to fail in that area, like capacitors. It means technicians can spot those local failure patterns immediately. They recommend parts specifically built to resist salt corrosion. And maintenance isn't some generic checklist. It's focused on cleaning coils and clearing drains to specifically fight back against humidity and salt.
And when a breakdown does happen, the whole process should be simple and totally transparent. Your call leads to a super fast dispatch. A technician does a thorough diagnosis to find the real root cause, not just the symptom. You approve the price before any work starts, and the repair is double-checked to make sure the problem is actually solved. No games, no surprises.
So we've been using Salisbury as our main example here, but the lesson isn't just about one town on the Maryland coast. It's really about empowering you with a totally new way to think about your own home.
And this right here is the main takeaway. Your home's biggest enemy is unique to your location. For Salisbury, it's salt and humidity. For Phoenix, it's brutal, dry heat and dust. For Minneapolis, it's extreme cold and ice. Understanding your specific local climate is the first and, honestly, the most important step to protecting your investment and your comfort.
And when you're facing those challenges, here's a really practical tool to help you make smart financial decisions. It's called the $5,000 rule. It's simple. You just take the age of your system and multiply it by the estimated cost of a repair. So, for example, if your 12-year-old system in Salisbury needs a $500 repair, you multiply 12 by 500, which is $6,000. Since that's over the $5,000 threshold, it's a really strong sign that you're probably better off investing that money in a new, more reliable unit.
Which really brings us to a final thought. This battle over your HVAC system, it's just one front in a much larger war. I mean, from the kind of pests that try to get into your house to the way moisture might be affecting your foundation, your home is in this constant, silent conversation with its environment. The real question is, are you listening?